Have you ever bought something, and it wasn't really about the thing, but the person who helped you?
Oh, absolutely.
You know, that sales assistant who just got you.
Mm-hmm.
We're diving deep into that career path today.
Okay.
And the stuff you shared from RoleCatcher, their guides, their FAQs, it's like they've bottled the magic formula for what makes a sales assistant really shine.
It's interesting, because the whole idea of what a sales assistant is has really kind of shifted, hasn't it? It used
Yeah.
to be all about, just processing the sale, right?
Right.
But now it's about being this problem solver,
Right.
being a guide for the customer.
Yeah, like a consultant almost.
Yeah, almost a brand ambassador even, depending on.
Totally. Okay, so let's break that down.
Okay.
RoleCatcher uses this phrase in their guide. They say direct contact with clients.
Yeah.
So it's not just about being behind the register.
Yeah.
It's about, like you said, that connection.
I think it's brilliant, honestly, because it really gets at what customers are looking for now, which is like we can find anything online, right?
Mm-hmm.
We can research, compare prices,
Oh, go ahead.
read a million reviews before we even set foot in the store.
Right.
But what we still crave is that human interaction,
Right.
someone to cut through all that noise, all that online noise, and say, hey, I hear you. Let's figure this out together.
Yeah, and that's where that active listening comes in, right?
Exactly.
And RoleCatcher actually ranks that higher than technical knowledge in their breakdown of essential skills.
Which I think is so smart.
Isn't that interesting?
Because you don't need to have, it's not about memorizing product specs anymore.
Well,
It's about connecting.
Right. It's about reading the customer.
Yeah. Have you ever had that experience where you walk into a place, maybe you're a little overwhelmed?
Oh, all the time, yeah.
Right. And a good sales assistant can just sense that,
Yeah.
and ask you a couple of questions. And all of a sudden you're like, oh, you get me,
You get me.
and they can steer you in the right direction.
It's like they're reading your mind, but it's really about picking up on those cues.
It is those little subtle cues.
Yeah. So, okay, let's say someone's listening. They're like, all right, this sounds like me. I'm good with people. How do they even start?
Yeah.
What's the entry point? RoleCatcher actually says a high school diploma is often enough,
Yeah. Which is great.
which is great. It makes it accessible.
It does. It really does.
Yeah.
But they are big on experience, though.
Okay.
So anything like, customer service roles, internships, anything where you're interacting with people.
Right.
Because that's where you're going to hone those skills.
Like the training ground, yeah.
Exactly. Dealing with all those different situations.
And what I love is they don't just leave you hanging after that first job.
Okay.
They actually map out this whole career journey.
They do. They have a whole roadmap.
Yeah, from sales assistant all the way up to like sales manager.
Which is so important because I think ambition is huge in this field.
Well, absolutely.
Wanting to grow and
Yeah.
RoleCatcher really stresses that.
Right. It's not just about staying in your lane. It's about like, what's next?
Exactly. Exactly. Always be learning.
And how do you stand out, right? Because the guide mentions it's a highly competitive field.
It is. And one word, portfolio.
Ooh, tell me more about that.
RoleCatcher is all about this, okay?
Go.
Imagine you're an employer, right?
Yep.
You've got two resumes in front of you. They look pretty similar on paper.
Right. Same experience.
But then one person, they're like, oh, by the way, here's some glowing reviews from my customer.
Oh, I love that.
Or here's some examples of how I crushed my sales targets.
Yes. It's not just telling me, it's showing me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You want proof, right?
Okay. So that brings us to RoleCatcher's platform, because it's not just about giving you this information. They've actually built tools, right?
They have, which is brilliant.
Yeah, to put this into action.
So it's like having a digital career coach in your pocket. Almost.
Right? It's like they've thought of everything.
They have.
So one of the things I was reading about was the AI resume builder.
Oh, it's amazing.
Right. It's not just your average, like, fill in the blanks template.
No. This is next level stuff.
It actually analyzes job descriptions
Yes.
and tells you how to tailor your resume.
Okay, so imagine this.
Okay.
You're applying for like a sales assistant position at a high-end boutique.
Ooh, fancy.
Right. So RoleCatcher's AI, it'll scan that job description and it'll be like, okay, they're using words like luxury retail, customer experience, visual merchandising, and it'll suggest, hey, why don't you weave these keywords into your resume?
It's like having a personal branding expert.
It is?
It's like whispering in your ear.
Right. And then you're speaking their language, right?
Oh, it's so smart. It's giving you that competitive edge.
Exactly.
But let's be real for a second, okay?
Okay.
Because it's sales, it's not all, high commissions and fancy boutiques.
Right. There's definitely a hustle to it.
There's a hustle, there's a grind.
Yeah. RoleCatcher doesn't sugarcoat that.
Okay.
They talk about dealing with difficult customers, facing rejection, the pressure to meet those sales targets.
Right, because difficult customer, I feel like that could be its own deep
Oh,
dive.
for
Oh,
sure.
easily, yeah.
We could swap stories all day.
So how does RoleCatcher like equip people for those moments?
I think it comes down to mindset.
Okay.
They don't frame those situations as failures. It's like, those are your opportunities to practice.
Yeah, like even those curveballs, you can hit a home run.
Exactly. You're building resilience, you're problem solving on your feet.
And that's valuable anywhere, honestly.
Absolutely. Those skills translate.
Okay, so you've mastered the basics.
Okay.
You're crushing it as a sales assistant. What's like that next rung on the ladder?
So typically you're looking at like a senior sales assistant role.
Okay, senior sales assistant. I like it.
Right. So you're still customer facing, but now you might be mentoring newer team members.
Okay, so you're sharing the knowledge.
Sharing the knowledge, you're becoming a resource.
Very cool.
You're getting more responsibility behind the scenes too.
Okay, like what kind of stuff?
So think inventory management,
Okay.
maybe stock control, even some basic sales analysis.
Oh, so you're starting to see the bigger picture.
Exactly. You're not just thinking about selling, you're thinking about what's selling and why.
So that takes some analytical skills, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And RoleCatcher really emphasizes that, data analysis.
Interesting.
A senior sales assistant might be looking at sales trends, figuring out like which products are everyone snatching up.
Right, which ones are hot?
Yes, and
Yeah.
which ones are just, sitting there.
Gathering dust.
And then using that information to make suggestions to the management team.
So you can be like, hey, maybe we should put these sweaters by the scarves because everybody's buying them together.
Exactly.
I've noticed a trend. I like that.
It shows you're engaged, you're thinking critically, you're not just, going through the motions.
You're a problem solver now. I love that. Okay.
Leveling up.
So senior sales assistant, there's got to be another level though.
Oh, there's always another level.
Right. What's the next one?
So for those who are really looking to lead, we're talking sales supervisor.
Okay, now we're getting serious.
Yeah, now you're transitioning from individual contributor to leader.
Ooh, okay, so you've got a team now.
You've got a team, you're overseeing them, making sure everyone's working together.
Making sure those targets are met.
Exactly.
No pressure, just kidding. Tons of pressure.
All the pressure, but that's where those, battle-tested skills come in.
Right, exactly.
So RoleCatcher talks a lot about, like, creating a positive and productive work environment.
Oh, that's so key.
It's so important because a good supervisor, they're not just a boss, right?
No.
They're a coach, a mentor.
They're invested.
Yes.
Yeah, they want to see you succeed.
Exactly, because your success is their success.
Right, it all rolls uphill.
It does.
I love that. Okay, so they're like the captain of the team.
Yeah.
They've got to keep everybody motivated, rowing in the same direction.
And just like a captain, you got to know the waters.
Okay, I like this analogy.
Right. So a sales supervisor, they've got to have their finger on the pulse of the market.
Okay, so what does that mean in practical terms?
They're working closely with the management team, developing sales strategies, looking at market trends.
Got it. So they're in the weeds with the data, but they're also, like you said, managing people.
It's a balancing act, for sure.
Right. It's a lot.
It is, but it's exciting, too.
Yeah, you're really starting to shape things at that point.
You are. You're making decisions that directly impact the bottom line.
They're like the bridge between what's happening on the floor with customers and then what's happening in those meetings where the big decisions are made.
Absolutely. And, for those who really thrive in that kind of high-energy, fast-paced environment,
Yeah.
we're talking about that sales manager track.
Okay, so that's like the top of the mountain, right?
That's the goal for many, yeah.
Yeah, you're calling the shots.
Setting the vision, leading the charge, for sure.
So what does the sales manager actually do? Besides, drink coffee and make big decisions?
Well, they are responsible for the big picture stuff,
Okay.
like setting those sales targets, managing budgets, looking at market trends.
It's a lot of responsibility.
It is. And forecasting future growth, too.
Oh, so they have to be a little bit psychic.
A little bit, yeah, gotta have that intuition.
Intuition, but based on like real data, right?
Yes. Oh, absolutely. It's not just vibes.
Not just vibes, got to have the spreadsheets to back it up.
Exactly. Gotta have the numbers.
Okay, I like it.
But it's not just about the data.
Okay.
Because a sales manager, they're out there building relationships with those key clients.
Right, so they're still using those people skills.
Oh, big time. Giving sales presentations, negotiating those deals.
I'm seeing a theme here. It's like every level up, you're still using those core skills, but you're adding more to your toolkit.
Absolutely. You're building on that foundation.
Okay, I like it. So what advice, like I know we've talked about a lot, what advice would you give someone like, all right, I'm ready to climb this ladder. I want to be that sales manager someday.
Well, I think RoleCatcher nails it when they talk about continuous learning.
Okay.
Always be curious. Always be learning about your industry,
Yeah.
your customers, the products.
Don't get complacent.
Exactly, because the best sales assistants, they're always eager to grow and evolve.
So find a company that supports that.
Absolutely. That invests in their employees' development.
Okay, that's huge.
Because at the end of the day, it's about more than just making the sale.
Right, it's about building those relationships.
Exactly. Creating those win-win situations.
I love that, building those relationships, not just with your customers, but within your team, with your managers. It's like this whole ecosystem.
It is, and when it works, it's magic.
It is. It's a beautiful thing. And, I think what we've learned today is that whether you're starting out as a sales assistant or you're running the whole show, those core skills, that human touch, it makes all the difference.
Couldn't agree more. In a world that's increasingly automated,
Yes.
being able to connect with people on a human level,
Yeah.
that's what's going to set you apart.
It's like a superpower.
It really is.
So to everyone listening, if you've ever considered a career in sales, don't underestimate yourself. You got this.
You absolutely do.
Go out there, make those connections, and crush those targets.
And remember, have fun along the way.
Yes, have fun, because if you're not enjoying it, what's the point? And on that note, I think we've reached the end of our Sales Assistant Deep Dive.
Until next time.
Until next time, thanks for listening, everybody.